this.
What is going on, guys? So, something that has really been on my mind lately. But before we talk about that, I wanted to say I made a video on a new channel right here. It's going to be right here, called DBZ Think, or Think DBZ rather. And I'm going to be posting videos about Dragon Ball Z. It's my favorite anime, and one of the few animes I enjoy. And it has more episodes come out. And there's a lot of theories and things you can talk about. And I've seen some other channels do it, but they have never had some questions and things and answers and things to explain that a lot of other people haven't, or I have different takes on them. So I thought I'd make a channel about it. I have my first video here, so if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, check it out. It's a pretty interesting video on why I think Goku should have been stronger than Raditz when Raditz arrived on Earth. But besides that, let's get on with the video. So for this video, the thing that I wanted to talk about is something that is happening in the game a lot, just like how I was talking about, what was it? How targeting is something that is deemed bad and that targeting's not as good. And it's something that's in the game a lot though, and it's overly used. Something else that is overly used, has been being used a lot lately, is self-inflicting or heavy cost cards. Now I understand, in this game, especially with how decks are becoming and how good decks are getting, you can't just have a card be like, hey, do all this good shit and you have nothing happen to you. I get that, but at the same time, that's pretty much every card. I think every card that comes out, there is always some sort of cost to make it good. And I know you have to have some sort of cost so it isn't overly powerful, but like once in a while, having an overly powerful card in the game is not necessarily a bad thing, which I'm sure many of you would argue a point to, because... But you know what they say about having a little something extra in the game.
Excess skin makes them grin.
Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because it's like every card you get, you're like, oh, that's good. Oh, you gotta pay a couple thousand life points. Oh, you gotta pay half your life points. Time, space, trap hole. It's not even a Solemn card. And Solemn's like if a new Solemn card comes out and you have to pay life points, it's like, whatever, okay, we get it. It's just like the Solemn cards, that's what they do. But a trap hole came out and they still make you pay like 1,000 life points or so. Any card that's good on removing some sort of problem, you have to pay life points, or there's a cost of like discarding a card. Now that I don't find as discouraging. If there's more cards like discard 3, like return this or whatever, I don't find anything against that. I don't really have anything against discarding cost. I feel like it's a more accessible and more fair type of cost for an effect. But hitting life points constantly is not really a great cost, because I know people would explain, will be like, well, if the card is this good, that cost should counteract the weight against your opponent. They should just have good cards. There shouldn't be a cost on it. There should be some sort of removal besides Dimensional Prison and Bottomless that lets me banish a card as a trap card. If there was, guarantee it'll be some sort of highly cost. Discard 2 cards, you can now banish this 2 monsters or something like that. Like it'd be and then you take 1,000 damage for each monster that got destroyed, like something ridiculous. And there's no basic trap cards, or cards in general that don't have some significant cost without being overly good. And that needs to change. For the most part, yes. If it's game breaking, there needs to be some sort of cost, but they need to get rid of the life point cost, because it's steered away from your standard trap cards now. It's not just the solemn cards and your random trap cards here. Now it's pretty much like every effect. Oh, pay life points to do this, pay life points to do that. I don't like the idea of having to constantly touch my life points. One, it seems like Konami's running out of ideas. And two, there can be all sorts of different ways to make a card cost. You can still do the life point thing, but don't do it overly heavy, like, oh, you lose half your life points, pay 2,000 life points. Do something like discard a card, take 500 damage, and do whatever this, or incremental damage. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but if you have a bunch of cards that do incremental damage, it adds up if you want to keep using good cards. Then one good card that does 3,000 right there, it would be like, oh, you want this draw power card for your archetype specific deck? You have to take 500 life points, draw 3 cards, take 1,000 life points for any monster card that's drawn those 3, and if you didn't draw any monsters, discard a monster card from your hand, or something like that. It's obviously that's not going to be used, but I'm just saying that is an idea of something that is a cost that's not like, oh well, hey, 3,000 life points please. The game needs costs. The game needs things being spent. But hurting our life points for every single card that's decent is just kind of getting stupid, and they need to think a little bit more outside the box, which I've noticed they are a little bit with some cards that I saw were coming out, like the E-Hero Draw card. That's a decent card. Like, that's not anything, like, significant. but they need to stop punishing every player. Because even the bad players, especially if they make non-archetype specific cards, like a card that anybody can use, even the players that are not playing as great as a deck still have access to that powerful card, which I don't think people forget. Yes, this great deck has access to this card, and this bad deck has access to the power of this card. So they're still the same, even if that card doesn't exist. This deck is still more powerful, this deck is still below it. Having those cards that can be played in every deck does not make this one overly powerful, and this one just a little bit. It evens it out. So it's just more cards out of the game. It's not anything that I feel like would impact it fully to the degree that I feel like everybody thinks it's going to impact it to. Which I know is kind of a little off of the topic, but yeah. So let me know down below. Do you think they are overly using this whole hurt yourself to get something, I hurt you, you get something back type of cost for every single decent card in this game? Or am I, once again, just thinking of something that's in fairy tale land? Like I said, let me know down below, give me your thoughts, discuss it like everybody has been doing in the comments lately, which I like to see. People have been having conversations, that's nice. So let me know down below. I'll see you later, guys. By the way, go check out my channel if you like Dragon Ball Z too. Alright, peace!
Damn.